Welcome to the interview, which, by the way, I don't even have a fucking name for this at all. But I was going to do, I always wanted to do, like, Dead Mosquitoes production, because Dead Mosquitoes don't suck. and I was going to have, like, a cool visual of, like whoever's in the group, a mosquito character, like a fucking,
caricature.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Who draws that? Who draws that shit?
Ralph Steadman?
Is that Ruff Stedman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that artistry, you know, like some mosquitoes with like a Bloody Mary or some shit, just like all fucked up walking, and then anybody in the group would have their own mosquito character, and it'd be the Dead Mosquito production.
I like it.
Yeah,
I dig that.
I just don't know what to fucking call this. So I have no name for it. I don't even introduce myself. Like, I'm very amateur at this. This is very.
Well, you're learning. You're still learning.
When I tell people what I'm doing, it's like they're very nice doing these interviews, but they must think in the back of their head, like, they could just shit on me the entire fucking thing, which is what I'm trying not to do.
Well,
you can shit on me, because I hate myself.
And I genuinely love Steve. Like, I really do love Steve. He's helped me out a lot. Steve, if you're listening to this, you're the fucking best. I've told you that before, but you're the best, and you fucking, you know.
Steve gave me my first hosting gig. You too.
Yeah, Steve, yeah, it was.
First time I got paid to do what could be considered comedy.
If you guys didn't know this already, I'm here with the podcast Lazy Susan, which is hosted by Dylan Walsh and Glenn Guinness.
You'd be very close to saying the podcast correctly. It's Lazy Susans.
Multiple Susans.
Plural.
Okay.
Yes. We're a cabinet full of Lazy Susans.
Hi, everybody. I'm here with Steve DeNuccio. He hosts the open mic at Pub on Park on every Monday, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
For 8 years.
8 years now?
8 years.
Yeah. Great grammar, by the way, too.
I love on every Monday. That's very solid.
As you can tell, that was my first fucking ever interview.
It's not. This was after the Windsong interview.
Yeah, you're right.
This is not your first interview.
This is my second one, and I still suck.
And second interview, and you're like, on every Monday, right? Like, you don't go every Monday.
Yeah, and I forget the name of where I'm at and who I'm talking to every time. These last 4 mics.
Also, that's not an interview thing, Chris. That's English. You forgot how to speak English for a second.
Forget implies that he knew at one point.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, this is actually the first spot I did open mic. So
It's a friendly mic.
Yeah, it's the room's pretty big, and it was rough when it was like empty. You
should have seen the room before when we first started out. That was a laundry room where the pub is. That was walled off at the partition where you enter the bar.
Yeah.
And you see it goes up a little bit. That is how we used to do our open mics, from where the dartboard is, where the window. We used to set up there and go that way. It was never out into the audience where you see now. So the owner and I, we kind of walked around the laundry room one day, and laundromat that was closed. I said, wow, you have something here. You should break down this wall. You're not using this anymore, and make a big giant pub. We could do big shows here. Well, he talked it over with the family, and one thing led to another, and now we have this big venue, and he got bands here and comedy. Comedy is doing wonderful here. We sell out every show.
Yeah.
In the Memorial Day show, it's sold out.
No shit.
Yeah, it's already sold out. It will be Sunday the 30th of May. It's already sold out completely.
I love how you're asking questions having done zero fucking research on... Your interview is more just for you, not...
No, it's...
like, you're just like, oh, you do shows here?
I had no idea they were doing shows.
I know we've only been doing it since COVID, but like, shit, man.
Did you guys know that they were putting on headlining shows?
Yeah.
You know what?
They booked Jimmy James.
He played it off, though, because it sounds like he's asking for the audience.
Yeah, but he's asking
for we know Chris, and we can see the look on his face.
That's exactly what I was doing. I knew the whole time. Thank you, Dylan. I'm a fucking...
Shenanigans, you just outed yourself.
I'm a marketing genius, you know? What, you got like a headliner there or something? It's not an open mic.
No, they're really shows. They're like a dinner show.
Have you been doing comedy shows here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got a show here. We've got about 4 or 5 shows here, big shows, that we're going to do here before the first of the year.
Okay, dang, I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah.
We're rolling into town from Austin on the 30th, but if it's sold out, I can't go anywhere.
Sure, we'll let you through the back door.
Okay.
You can see it. Why not? See a real show and see the audience. You got a very, very responsive audience, very good people.
Yeah.
This is a great venue. It's turned into a comedy club. It really has.
That's great. I wish I knew that.
You learn something new every day, right?
So why did you start doing open mics or comedy?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, dude, thank you. He's related to Ariana Grande.
I know.
Is that really the necklace she gave him that, or you're just joking?
No, he's never fucking met her.
No,
He's related to Ariana Grande.
Related doesn't mean that they hang out on Easter.
No, they actually.
Yeah, on Easter they did, when she was a kid.
They actually do hang out on Easter specifically.
Yeah. Fuck you, Glenn.
Because that's how he got involved with Disney, was Ariana. That's how he got the Disney gigs. Because she's a Disney kid.
I am a jazz pianist and singer. That's where I hail from, the music world. I've actually, the art world, I'm an artist, and I hail...
You did Disney, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
But Royal Caribbean first.
Okay.
So here's how that all worked out. I just kind of like play piano, and I would do if you're in a lounge on a cruise ship or you're in a lounge, Disney's not so comfortable with comedy, so I used to be behind a piano like Royal Caribbean or whatever venue that's similar to that, and I would do a lot of parody songs on the piano. And I call it sit-down comedy, right? Instead of stand-up. It was a lot of fun. I would do regular jazz riffs and regular music and get sing-alongs going. But in between, I'd kind of like wake up the audience a little bit more and do some parody songs, and we'd have a lot of fun, and they got a kick out of it. So I leave that for my cocktail hours, and I use comedy stand-up. And I did it. I started with John Parada about 8 years ago, and I started off. My first show was at the Comedy Connection, so it was really great. Yeah. So it was my first introduction into comedy. I haven't done anything until the Comedy Connection, and it worked out pretty darn well. I had a whole following with me. Not that I filled the room. I probably brought about 20, 25 people.
Mike.
Solid editing, by the way, Chris.
Is it?
No.
Oh,
so far.
The editing's nice and smooth. Minus, it was kind of a jarring switch from the side profile to just, bam, Steve DeNuccio.
Hey, thank you guys for not pointing out the fucking wire that was in the frame the entire time.
I mean, the phone is way more distracting.
Oh, yeah, that too. Thank you for not mentioning how stupid I am. I couldn't remember the questions. What's your favorite thing about the open mic?
The one we do here, the favorite thing? Well, I pay attention to people that are out there and kind of see, there's some veterans that come and they try new stuff, but
Dylan Welsh is a veteran of comedy. He's a Vietnam vet of comedy right now.
No, I call them the
That's
comic.
because he's the only one of us that's homeless.
my favorite thing is to see new people come, newbies. And when they come in and to see their little followings they bring with them. And I see potential in a lot of them. And, John and I will talk off privately, and I'll say, we had a young guy in, or a young lady in, and I see potential as far as a good bringer for a show, something, and I think that they could hold their own for 5 minutes. And what I like it becomes like the farm team to some shows that we put on or he puts on that I help him with. And because John does most of the work on those shows, and I just kind of augment and help him with the tickets, and I'm in the show or whatnot. But I'm able to feed to him some comics that I think would work great for certain shows. That's the fun part of the open mic. And of course, sitting at the bar and drawing my pictures that I'm commissioned to do. So I enjoy doing that. So I'm at work, doing work, and actually getting more work because people say, oh, you're an artist too? Yes, and before you know it, I get a commission.
Do you have any pet peeves about the open mics? Anything that just bothers you? Small stuff?
I think the pet peeve I have, not with the open mics as much as, you got to understand, I'm from the music world. So I'm a musician. And I find that, we all have different genres, and I find that there's not a lot of competition or like playing King of the Mountain, knocking somebody off the mountain. There's not a lot of that in the music world as I see in the comedy world. I think the pet peeve I have is that I see a lot of cliques form, and there's a lot of like, oh, you're my friend, and you're going to get this, and you're my friend, and you're going to get this, and oh, you got an opinion about this, and you do this, and there's a lot of that in comedy, and I guess that's my biggest biggest disappointment, but I overcame it really well once I understood that it's a more contentious world, comedy, than it is in the music world. I find it two different worlds, definitely different worlds. Nobody's going to try to knock me off the mountain for playing Cocktail Hour, but in the comedy world, there are people who play favorites and whatnot, and it's unfortunate, but that's the part. And I try, as you notice, I give everybody a shot to go on that mic and host and pay them for hosting. I give everybody a shot because I don't want to do what I've seen done in other comedy clubs where if you don't know me and shine my shoes, you're not even going to get that mic. You're not going to kiss the stage. I don't believe in that. And John Perrotta didn't believe in that either. Him and I try to give everybody a shot. Why not? We're all trying to do something here. And hey, I'm 64 years old. I don't expect to make it big. But if a young guy like yourself or whatever, or any of the young guys, I want to give them a push. And if it gives them a chance to say, hey, I hosted a mic at the pub, and they add that to their resume, why not? I'm all about giving everybody a shot. That's where I come from.
It's definitely clicky. I like to consider you call me the mayor of,
I do.
Which is
Christopher
ridiculous.
Mueller calls Glenn Ganesh the mayor of comedy only because I want to picture him in a top hat. That's the only reason.
Yeah, straw top hat. But which I've only been in this for 9 months, so I don't feel like it's an earned moniker yet. But the
You're definitely not really the mayor.
No, I'm not.
You heard it from his mouth, everybody. Glenn Ganesh refers to himself as the mayor of comedy.
Dude, he calls himself the mayor all the time. And the other thing is, he says, like, literally, I've heard him say, like, I'm only 8 months in. I'm one of the top 5 comics. I've heard him say it many times. Many times.
In all seriousness, though, it is pretty clicky. It is pretty clicky. Would you agree with that, Dylan?
I was surprised he brought that up. And also sort of like...
Happy they did?
I was happy he did, and but I was almost like, wow, he sees that from where he is. And then I think he gets into it a little further. And then I was sort of like, oh, of course he sees it. Like, you know, he's got a top-down view.
But I'm not here to insult other comedians. But you know what I mean. Everybody's doing a good job. It's just I wish it wasn't so clicky. People would just kind of embrace each other and give everybody a shot and see what happens. You know, you never know, right? You never know.
I did an open mic at a music open mic, and the crowd was okay with it, but I could tell like the musicians, I don't know, they just had like a weird. They didn't really like the comedian being there. It seemed like they didn't respect it. I'm not saying that's how it is for
I don't think it's a good match. I don't think it's a good...
I was okay with it, but I could tell like the musicians...
That was a rough fucking edit right there.
How so?
Rewind it.
Okay.
I didn't know,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Dude, that was the struggle with editing this. It's because there was so much good shit, but I had to fuck, I gotta cut this out. And I had to cut it on that millisecond.
Yeah, you had to get
literally
it right when he had to breathe.
0.1 second.
Yeah.
After that, I would have had to add 2 more minutes if I would have got 1 more in.
Right.
So thank you for pointing that out.
No problem. It was a rough edit. I just had to...
Well, this entire thing is rough.
Okay.
Good mix. I think if you're going to have a music open mic, leave it music. Yeah. If you're going to have a poetry open mic, leave it poetry. I just think comedy is it's a different insert. I just don't think that that's a good marriage. I really just think that should be a separate thing. Yeah. But some venues, they do it, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I think you're going to catch a little bit of attitude because I think the music world, they're the music world, right? The comedy world, they're different. And it's hard to get people all jamming and getting into it. And if you're doing jazz, you're doing blues, you're doing rock, you're doing rap, or whatever, and all of a sudden now you got somebody telling jokes, it's like you hit a brick wall. Because if that guy's not funny and everybody was hitting it, you know what I mean? There's nobody to pick it up like a host would do in a comedy show. The host's job is to pick up what falls. In the music thing, now you got a band that's gone up, and now meanwhile everybody who wasn't happy with that comedian or maybe liked him, but still it's a different kind of insert in a situation like that. You got to keep them separate, my opinion is. But in some cases they work. If if everybody's in agreement with it, you know what you're getting when you walk in. But I don't think it's a good marriage. That's my opinion personally. Keep music to music, keep poetry to poetry, keep comedy to comedy. And I think everybody's a happy camper.
He has a point, but I will say, if there are comics out here listening, some of the first money I made doing comedy was in the music scene, hosting for bands, like going up, emceeing between bands and stuff. So he has a point, but if you can figure out how to do it, then, you know, there's something to that.
Right. These days, political correctness is a big issue. So, like, how do you feel about the comedy scene in this PC world?
Comedy is supposed to be comedy. We're supposed to laugh at stuff, right? But not in this world. It's changing comedy. It really is. It's putting a big stress on this industry where, you know, where we're okay with it, but club owners don't want to be on the hook as being responsible for what comments are being made on stage. You almost have to do a disclaimer. All opinions and jokes are not the opinions of the club today. So that question is going to be a question and a concern in this industry going forward, at least for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very contentious atmosphere because club owners are not going to want to be painted into a corner and feel as though they're responsible for your jokes, which is only a joke. I'm not faulting the comedian, but unfortunately, the world has changed.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking in like 10 years, I hope the young people then are just sick of it, and they're like, we should all just be normal and just talk.
Laugh.
You can have different opinions and just
Absolutely.
be friends, you know?
I've had the biggest debates over politics with people, and at the end of the day, we're yucking it up and buying a drink for each other, and we love each other because it's America. If it was a one-party country, that would be like communism. If it was all Republican or all Democrat, you don't want that. You want choices. You want to be able to pick and choose who you like. At the end of the day, let's love each other. Let's even tell jokes about it.
So where do you want to see like the comedy scene going in Providence? Like, what do you think about just the whole scene?
I want it to grow. I'm hoping, especially in this club right here, the Pub on Park. This is a good comedy home for us, and I'm hoping that this grows bigger, real big. I know that the owner has plans, which I'm not at liberty to discuss, but I would like to see, you know, some big national guy just passing through, that maybe John Parada, who's given a lot of headliners nationally their first shot, like Bill Burr, for instance. He gave him a shot to the mic, and then Bill hired him to open his show once not too long ago. And it would be great if like a guy like that's passing through, hey, we got a club, we're putting on a show, hey, would you like to like stop by and do something? I like to see comedy in Rhode Island grow big, 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 especially in the Providence city area, because we used to be known as the jazz scene. I mean, we had a lot of jazz clubs here. I was busy with my band. But of course that genre has melted away. But I like to see in replace of that is full-blown, right-on comedy. It can't be, I mean, the Comedy Connection is great because if you ever want to feel what it's really like to be in a comedy venue, you know, where you're like at a repertoire company like Trinity Rep and stuff, like you're on a stage and you're acting and you're feeling like you're really at a real show doing this. Comedy Connection's great, but I think we need to augment everything that's done there as well, not compete with that, because I think that's a great venue, but I think that we need to have other venues, other areas, because comics are always looking for other mics. Yeah. And the thing that I try to impose upon people, because I have Ocean State open mics as a group, I try to tell people, and it's a free world, but I try to say, let's all respect each other on which day we're having a mic. In other words, I do ours on Monday. It's been like that for 8 years. If you're going to have a mic, have it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Have a different day so comics can move around and we're not competing with each other. This way, the venue what we're doing is not competing. Because if you're going to come to my open mic here and you're just going to show up, do a joke, leave, and go somewhere else, we depend on people buying a beer, buying a hamburger. That's how we keep this going, because if he's not making money from people just a single drink, that helps pay some of the bills and it helps pay the budget. Mm-hmm. He gives us a budget. And I split it with the host. I don't make no more than the host does. I go right down the middle. That's the way we've always done, John and I. That's the way I do it. But to have this open mic, I always ask others, have yours on a different day, or if you're going to have yours on the same day, have it earlier. But if you're going to have one at the same time, let's, for instance, say there's 2 mics in addition to our Monday mic. What's going to happen is 3 venues are going to get very upset. Not the people like myself who are hosting it. What's going to happen, it's going to shut down every one of those mics because the comics are going to show up, not buy a drink here, not spend money here. They're going to do their joke, leave, go to another venue, do their joke, leave, go to another venue. And meanwhile, you're not supporting the club you're in.
Right.
And so that kills the venue. Mm-hmm. So I try to tell people, think that way. So you can have an 8-year open mic. So you could have, whatever, many years. But if you're competing with each other, you're going to burn each other out. Because that mic is not making money because, they showed up. They didn't even get a glass of water. They're smoking outside. They do their stuff. They leave. And the club owner who's giving you a budget sees that. Don't think they don't. They see the budget. They're seeing what's spent. And if he's got 50 people in his place, but nobody spent any money, because they're in a hurry to go to the next mic and they get the same treatment at the next place and they're not spending any money, that eventually closes that mic down. Closes both mics. Nobody's a winner. Everybody's a loser. And there are not enough open mics for comics to go. So I always try to tell somebody, you got to have a mic, have it a different day or have it earlier so comics can spend some money, keep that alive and well, spend some money here. I don't force people to do the spending, by the way, but it's practical. If you're gonna go someplace, you don't want to show up at a restaurant and bring your own beer and drink your own beer. You don't want to go to a restaurant and say, I'll have a glass of water. You're expecting you to spend some money. That's how you pay the bill. That's how we keep this going. That's why we kept it going for 8 years. Yeah. I tell people, let's respect each other. There's a lot of venues. Have it a different day. Or very much a different time. So at least we can keep it going.
Right.
It works. 8 years is a storyteller.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have many more years doing this open mic. Steve DeNuccio, everybody. Thank you very much.
Peace.
Pretty good. Right?
Great job, guys.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks a lot, Steve.
How long was it? That was like 30 minutes, dude.
I have a lot to offer.
Really
Believe me, I could go on. There's so much. But, that's, I think you could agree with what I'm saying. That's how we help each other in this business.
That's not how you spell his name.
That's not how you spell his name?
Nope.
How do you spell his name?
I want to say
DINUCCIO.
DENUCCIO. Bam! That's exactly what I said.
Mara.
Shut off the mic.
Yeah.
I figured we're done.
Yeah, we should probably go.
Yeah, here's your...
I'm just going to change my clothes really quick, okay?
This is going to be quick.
How was it? Was it good?
Nah, it sucks. Terrible.